To me, enough is enough.
Hey guys, welcome back to Queen of the Indies Corner with another episode of Indy Talks. I'm your host as always, the Queen of the Indies, Tiffany. And it's SCI season, as I've been saying for the last couple of weeks. So I'm joined with Scott Hensley. Hi, what's up?
Hey.
And then we're with my good friend Matt Griffin. What's going on?
Hey. Just baking here in the heat down south. Ready for SCI weekend to start tomorrow.
Woo, I'm so excited. I've been hyping this up for weeks on the podcast. We've had a whole bunch of people on here, but we've been really promoting this on the podcast for the last couple of weeks. Like I said, SCI season. Guys, let me know how the audio is in the chat. I had some problems going on, so I want everything to be good before we move forward with everything. I already see a Zach in the chat. He said, happy Wednesday, everybody. Happy Wednesday. How are you? So let me make sure I see I got a message. You sound good. All right, cool beans. All right, now I feel better. So hopefully the program doesn't crash so we can actually talk about SCI and all that fun stuff. So if you guys haven't listened before, Matt's been on this podcast a couple of times. He's done Wrestling with Positivity. We've done a full-blown interview with him. We talked action wrestling. We talked a little bit about SCI. But Scott, you're new here, to the Queen of the Indies Corner. Hi. Give us a little bit about you. So there's a lot of people that didn't really know. They think that Matt is just the owner of SCI. So it's kind of interesting that a lot of people didn't know that. So tell everybody a little bit about you.
Yeah, so I've been in wrestling since 2006. That was my first event, and have done ring announcing pretty much in the, they call people like a 40-miler if you are just like a local wrestler. I call myself a 140-miler. So, I've done ring announcing in in Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia primarily, but I've been the promoter and am one of the co-founders of the Scenic City Invitational tournament that we started way back in 2015. So this is actually the 10th year.
Oof. Time flies when you're having fun. So I always like to ask for, for the fans that aren't familiar with SCI, so what matches, would you recommend, since we're starting again tomorrow with TWE and everything, but to fresh some people that are new, what's something that you would recommend that they should watch to become instant fan?
Ooh.
Man, that's a hard question, and it shouldn't be.
There's a lot of good matches.
There really are.
Well, if you want to watch historic SCI stuff, kind of the modern era of the SCI began in 2021. Everything was still recovering from the pandemic, and we had SCI, and Scott and I had a conversation. It was like, hey, Scott, I think we might be able to hold this at TWE. And I think if we do this, it could work. And I can't tell you what this is because I've long forgotten it because that's 4.5 years ago. Scott might remember. But we had, as I was driving back from a TWE show, I was talking about SCI, and that was 2021 was a real heck of a year. 2016 was possibly the best finals we've ever had. We had, that was the Chris Hero year. And there's just been a lot of different things. So you could pretty much go back into the SCI library and watch a lot of things. I mean, the last two winners, Manders and Adam Priest, have also been Action World Champions. And if you go back a couple more years, Jade Newman has been an Action Tag Team Champion and current IWTV World Champion. So really, you're not going to go wrong if you just go back on IWTV and watch just about anything to catch up. That's a very dull answer, but that's what I got.
It's not a dull answer. It's the truth. I love that. Definitely very much. So, I mean, we're gonna talk about matches going on this, but what should the average fan expect from this tournament again if they're haven't watched anything and maybe they're gonna watch it for the first time this year?
I like to think of it like a music festival. You know, when you see a music festival like Bonnaroo, you see like some bands that you know, but then there's a ton of bands that you don't know. And if you're somebody that goes to music festivals, you know, that's a good place to discover new bands. So that's sort of the goal of Scenic City was to provide just a platform for kind of like local area wrestlers to be seen as, you know, equals to some of the just premier traveling independent wrestlers. And Matt and Action, along with TWE, have made it really hard for Scenic City to stand out because they're constantly booking just the top independent wrestlers in the world. But we are really proud of the field we have, and so just coming in, it's just a mix. You're going to see people that you recognize if you follow independent wrestling. You know, we have people like Cruel and Colby Carino, you know, Vinny Mazzaro from the West Coast, Channing Thomas. You know, it's just it's such a mix, and so it's fun to put them all together and see what happens.
I love the fact that like we have like the future showcase also too, which is great. Is where we find like a lot of people. Like I know last year, and Tim Bosby was one that like I just had him on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, and we talked about it. And we were talking about his match with T.J. Crawford last year. And I kept saying, I was like, this kid is good. I was like, and then now here it is, Action Champion, and he's entering the Scenic, City Invitational, which is just amazing. So I feel like, you're giving that platform also, to like what is up and coming as well, if people aren't familiar.
Well, absolutely. You know, we had Jay Malachi a couple years ago, who is now, you know, Javon Evans at NXT. I mean, it was like a year from that he was wrestling Randy Orton on television. So, I mean, you never know who you're going to see or discover during Scenic City Invitational weekend. And Futures is probably the thing that I'm most proud of as an event, because we've had over a dozen people that have come through that have been signed to professional contracts or that travel the world now, and it's really an entryway into our tournament and sort of our little like mini territory universe with Action and Scenic City and TWE.
Definitely. Wow. It's crazy. So should we break down a little bit of this card like going on here for Friday, Saturday? It's crazy. So
Yes, please remind me because I don't remember a single match. I am going to show up Friday at fall time, and then we're just going to basically, you guys go first. I think that's what we'll do.
All right, so why don't we go? I just like randomly threw matches into the program. So why don't we start with that? So we got Diego Hill, who's recently also too has been on this podcast, versus Teriyaki. So give us a little background with this one.
Matt, I'll let you go first.
Well, I mean, we have Diego Hill recently, popped up in MLW. Teriyaki, who, he's been performing lately in Jersey Championship Wrestling. In his past, he toured Japan. This is one of those, who can hit a big high flying move, last and come out on top. Both these guys are really good, but they're not as good as they're going to be yet. The ceiling, they're not quite at it. I actually just saw a training video of Teriyaki just fooling around in the ring, trying some new stuff, and was just amazed by how smooth he is. They wrestled about a year and a half ago at Action Wrestling, maybe 2 years ago. And that was right before Teriyaki went to Japan, and both are so much better than they were then. So, this is one of those type of matches where you just kind of pat the guys on the shoulders and say, be safe out there. And they're both going to disregard completely.
Yep. Superhuman athleticism, innovation, high flying, fast paced action. I tell people that I'm entertained by a few things in wrestling. I'm entertained by people doing things that I can't do, which is a lot of things, that I won't do, also a lot of things, or that I've never thought of doing. And I think those guys will absolutely kill in every category there.
Do we need to like put a deposit extra on the building for the high flying going on
Nope,
here?
no deposits on the building. Nope, we're not putting. Nope, at their own risk. Nope, we trust everybody is insured.
Have we
No.
had anything like scary like that happen before? That it's like break the ceiling or something? Like...
Have we ever had anything scary happen at a wrestling event?
People have
nope.
put holes in the walls at TWE.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I've put one in there myself, but we're not at the weekend yet, so we'll see.
You're gonna have to come back after SCI weekend. I'm like, all right, so.
But Terry and Diego, this is the type of match we like at SCI. They're both guys who've been around in our orbits with our promotion. They've both appeared on different SCI events and action events. And they're both first time entrants in the SCI. So this is one of those real interesting type of matches. We've got a lot of new faces into the tournament this year, and not a lot of returnees.
Yeah.
Heck, we don't even have last year's champion in the tournament itself.
I know.
Not that he would want to do it.
I was just out here breaking, trophies. Here, pretty much. So.
What a shocking and surprising moment that was.
All right, let's move on. So the next one that I have in the program that we just pulled up is Tim Bosby versus Cruel. This is gonna be crazy. I know Tim wasn't too happy about this on social media. He was posting about this. Why? So talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, you also know that Cruel and Tim Bosby wrestled at Action for the Action World title.
Mm-hmm.
And that was an interesting one. And this has been something that's in the works because, ever since actually the SCI Rumble, if you want to talk about that, Scott.
Yeah, so typically with our Scenic City Rumble, we like to do standalone events that also tie together so people can go and watch an event and see, a spectacle, an event in itself, but then also we want them to continue to follow along. So we try to tie it together. So in the past we've had where the Scenic City Rumble winner gets to not only be in the tournament, but they get to pick their first round opponent. And Dylan Hells from IWTV completely flipped the script on us this year. He came out and said that not only was Tim Bosby just not even going to be in the Rumble, but he was going to be in the tournament, and then whoever won the tournament would have to face Tim Bosby. And then he got upset because Cruel won. I mean, what kind of sense does that make? I mean, so he made his bed and now he has to lie in it. That he thought he was going to get, I guess, some kind of can of corn opponent for Tim Bosby, which we had some very legitimate contenders in that Rumble, but he got absolutely the best one at the end of the night, which was Cruel. And now, as he does now, Dylan is complaining, and Bosby's right there complaining along with him. Bosby has all the talent in the world, and for some reason is saddled with Dylan Hells now.
Crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's the night at the Rumble where we were live, and the Action World Championship was the first match. Tim Bosby won. Dylan Hales decided to grab a microphone. They walked right out the front door, and as we found out a few hours later, they showed up at New South at the Haas tournament and jumped Big Dave, who won the orange jacket. And that helped spark a war that we're still fighting 4 months later, and is definitely going to get much worse at Action Wrestling next month. So yeah, lots of stuff been caused by Tim Bosby and Dylan Hales.
Damn it, Tim. I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna do with you. I just don't know. So this will be a very interesting match again. So make sure you're tuned on in this weekend. So next match that I have that we got going up, Hunter Drake versus Bojack. And this is gonna be crazy. Drake's gonna be thrown around by Bojack a lot in this match, and I'm here for it. I'm sorry.
I feel like this match graphic looks like it's advertising some weird reality show on like TLC.
I'm done.
It's complete opposites. I mean, you've got somebody that's very, very likable in Bojack. Bojack is very talented and very, a very large, heavyweight, mobile, just powerhouse that's just so likable. And then you've got Hunter Drake, who is, a very small guy, a featherweight, so to speak, almost. And, and he comes out and just antagonizes every crowd he's in front of. He's the president of his own fan club, and it's the complete opposites colliding, and we will see if Hunter Drake just gets squashed like a bug.
Oof.
He's gonna get squashed like a bug. Whether it kills him, we'll see.
This is true.
Hunter Drake is exceptionally talented.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing here. We just like to have a lot of fun when we make our matches, and Hunter Drake is, let's say, well liked in the East Tennessee region. We'll say well liked. So yeah, this match was pretty much just a giant rib on Hunter.
That's gonna be fun. Let me give some love in the chat. I see heel pops and chair shots in here. What's going on? How are ya? Everything Pro Wrestling Conrad's in here. What's going on? He said my favorite place to catch up on the indies. Hell yeah! and then I passed them on to Conrad so that he could talk about them in his like AEW and WWE podcast and everything like that. So go give him some love. So we're gonna talk about some of the people on this podcast that you may be familiar with or soon to be familiar with. So so we're gonna I don't know what we're gonna see out of this match with Hunter Drake and Bojack. We're permitting violence pretty much. Like you guys.
I would love to see. I might offer Hunter Drake a bonus if he can body slam Bojack.
Oh yeah.
Just because I don't even care if he does it. I just want to see him try and see the look on Bojack's face.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, and Bojack is a guy to be feared. I mean, he's likable, but in that ring, a couple years ago, Tank actually wrestled Bojack at our Rumble event, and Tank said, "Does he do a moonsault?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, if he goes up for a moonsault, he goes, I may just tap.
I think we should start taking some pools here, like you should start, make some sign money, like you walk in, like when you come in to check in for your ticket, but like, do you want to like be in on this pool over here? Whatever like that. And if this happens, like maybe get a free drink, maybe get a hot dog, maybe, like, I love that. All right, let's give some more love in this chat. So, Val's in here. She goes, it's 3 of my favorite people. Hi, Val. How are you? Miss you. So, we're going to move on to Gary J and Hems and Shook. This is going to be good. I saw Gary. I think Gary's like watching too because so he shared the pod and everything too. I appreciate that. Make sure you hit that like button and make sure you hit the share button so we can talk more about the SCI and everything like that. So Gary J, who like I've kind of considered like one of the most hardest chops in independent wrestling, but I see from a lot of wrestlers from my pinned tweet on Twitter, X, whatever, that a lot of people challenge that. So
I have been told by multiple wrestlers the hardest person to ever chop them is Gary J. Mm-hmm. The two most consistent ones that I've been told are Gary J and Kurt Stallion Rogers. So those are the two names that consistently come up. And Gary J's an interesting name because he he was a finalist actually in 2018, I believe.
Mhm.
My years are very difficult, so I always may be off by like
Mhm.
a few months or a few years. But so Gary J hasn't been in, but he's a previous finalist. And Jameson last year he won the Action Wrestling as presented by the Scenic City Invitational Future Showcase Championship. I'm just putting a lot of words in there because it amuses me. Yeah, Jameson won Futures last year, which and so he's in this year, and well, Jameson's a deathmatch wrestler now too, so he's used to getting hit hard. So Gary J might wear his hand out trying to hit Jameson and wear him down.
I don't think that's going to happen. I, you know, Gary J is one of the most respected, hardest working independent wrestlers, you could say in this region, but it's in the world. I mean, nobody works as hard as Gary J. You know you're going to get a good match when you see Gary J on the poster, and you know that he's going to match up against literally anybody, and that it's going to be just an absolute battle. But then Jameson Shook on the other side of that, Matt mentioned, he won Futures last year. He is currently one half of the IWTV World Tag Team Champions. He's the H2O Hybrid Champion. So he's getting after it as well. But we will see how the veteran ability of Gary J plays into sort of just the young and dumb style of Jameson Shook.
I feel we have to set up a station for like, when you take the chops from Gary J. I don't know, like we get some ice or something, or like, I don't know. We need something, like seriously. I don't know, because like a lot, it's funny, like another name that's been popping up too with hard chops is Landon Hale. That's been popped up a lot also too.
Yeah, I know one of your favorites. I've had a few people tell me that his chops don't just look really, really good, but they are incredibly stiff.
Yeah.
So, Landon Hale is challenging Tim Bosby for the Action World title on July 25th, actually. So, there's so many people in the mix with so many things. Landon Hale, I'll just put him over. He's a previous SCI finalist out of nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah. That was good. That was a good year too. Like, was that 2023, right? Yeah.
Yes.
2023. Like, I remember like
Bandit,
watching that.
bandaged head and all, yeah.
Yeah, he ate that chair. Like,
Yeah, we have a great history at the SCI of wrestlers getting the backs of their heads or their ears just completely busted open for no reason at all.
yeah, this is why the fans have to catch them too.
Yeah, Daniel Makabe has bled multiple times, for example, at SCI. Landon Hale just does something he does every match, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, you need 18 staples in your head on a Friday night. Oh, okay. So you're out. Nope, I'm still gonna go tomorrow. Okay, cool. Okay, cool.
Much love to Landon Hale. Yeah, that's what I like to
Sure.
say. All
The
right.
names who have been in and out and around this tournament, whether it's Futures or SCI, the Rumble past events, with heck, even with trios when we ran that event several years ago, it's just how many wrestlers are doing just such tremendous things in business is staggering. Scott and I talk about it all the time about like, remember when? Because this has been going on so long. It's like, we see some wrestlers who had full careers in the span of a couple SCIs, and then so many people were on an early show or signing contracts or going to Japan, Europe, and just doing the highest profile indies possible. And that's a very cool feeling.
That's what we want to see. We want to be the tournament where you see people that are successful and are going to be even more successful.
I love that. That's got to be like awesome too, like the reward, because I know it even as a fan that in general, like you follow like a wrestler from like the beginning of their career, and to like watch them like go and get to where like Billy Starks is probably like a great example. And I know Conrad's in the chat, so he could kind of vouch for it, because a lot of like, again, someone like him who's watched me had these interviews that I've been watching for a while, and to see her where she is now is just mind blowing and just amazing and rewarding for myself. So that's going to be like rewarding for you guys. And even the fact of like seeing them, whether that they go to Japan or Germany, and like they're working all these like crazy, like even like Ryan Clancy's doing a whole tour in Japan right now. Like it's insane.
Yep. I'll just go ahead and spoil it. Ryan Clancy was invited and was one of the 16 this year until he got a chance to go to Japan for 3 months. And it's like, yeah, I think you should go to Japan.
Yeah.
But Ryan Clancy was definitely somebody who was on that first list and was going to be in until he blew it away at a tryout. And I know he's over there. Former SCI entrant Robert Martyr's over there. Martyr actually won the Future Showcase in 2021, and actually in the same match with Billy Starks. Billy, I think, had her first match in our area and circuit as part of a Making Towns women's event before an SCI event when she was 13 or 14. So, just thinking about how many years somebody like Billy has grinded. She's a veteran, and she's still got so big a future ahead of her. She's still improving and getting better, and is not as good as she's going to be yet. And you don't necessarily think about her as a veteran because, okay, she's young, but yeah, she is a veteran. She is somebody you can go to in a locker room and say, hey, does this make sense? Should we do this? What do you think? I'll tell you, pulling the curtain back a little bit, when she was at Action or at SCI, I didn't tell Billy a lot. I would go ahead and give her a lot of options, which is something I let the veteran wrestlers do, is go ahead and propose things quite often where they could. And she never let us down, no matter what role she was in.
Love
Yeah, I
that.
think Cage Match at one time was like tracking the wrestlers that had the most matches. And when she was really hitting the independents hard, I think she was number one on that list at one time, that she had the most matches within a certain time frame in the year. So, I mean, like Matt's saying, being a wrestling veteran, it doesn't necessarily have to do with just age anymore. Jaden Newman is another example of that. Jaden's been wrestling since he was 15 years old, and he is a young, grizzled veteran now.
Love that. Val in chat says, not gonna move, just gonna catch him. You catch all the wrestlers, Val. I got faith in you. It should be like me.
Well,
like I brought cookies and I like feed
well,
them.
that's a perk of our front row seating. You might be able to catch a wrestler.
I might take them back with me. I'm only kidding. All right, let's move on to the next like match that I have here. So we have Mad Dog Holly and Mortar, which is crazy. Martyr's been on this podcast before. He was in the Super 8 this year. It's crazy to kind of see where he's gone, and it's kind of cool that I'm seeing a lot of the wrestlers from like up here coming down south. And I love that. And I get it from a lot of other wrestlers too around here, that they probably don't even know a bunch of wrestlers or promotions and stuff, and then they find out all this stuff from me, which is kind of cool. So I appreciate that and everything like that. But this is going to be hard hitting, and I'm so here for this match. It's so crazy. So talk to us a little bit that.
Well, Mortar's someone who came in last year, and he had a hell of a match, of a violent match with Gary J. I believe that was on our Saturday Futures event. It was a feature match with a kind of a surprise Gary J appearance too, and we like Mortar. He's chaotic champion, chaotic wrestling up in New England. It's been going for something like 26 years. That's an incredible run. They, he's working independent shows all over up in New England, and he's wanted to come down here several and made the trip several times, and uh, we love that. We want to go ahead and feature wrestlers because it helps bridge, connectivity. I think wrestlers getting into different areas only helps because you're going to see, uh, you know, wrestlers who come in and are at SCI weekend are going to be in front of several bookers and decision makers at different promotions from the Southeast. We've had different, I can tell you, I know it came up in a comment once about what does SCI matter? And I was like, it matters a lot because I'm fully aware of who has used opportunities in SCI to go other places. Mm-hmm. And I love the fact that we have someone like Mortar who wants to come down south. And Mad Dog Connolly, I mean, a month and a half ago, Scott and I were in Phoenix, Arizona for the Action Dean 2 event in conjunction with Ring of Honor. And Brian Danielson himself was talking about how excited he was to see Mad Dog Connolly in person. Mm-hmm. And, Mad Dog is just an aura. You can see him before a match. You can see him in the back, maybe at a merch table. And then you see Mad Dog Connolly come out, and it is a different experience. At the initial Action Dean event over a year ago, the most frightened I've ever been at a show I was promoting was during basically every second of Mad Dog Connolly versus Damus. If you have not seen that, that was a match a lot of people called independent match of 2024, and it gives me anxiety, literal anxiety as a promoter, just to even thinking about it. So, I'm very excited to see what a West-based wrestler and a Northeast-based wrestler are going to get together and do. And we might ask the referee to kind of loosen up on things like 10 counts and quick disqualification calls during that.
Well, we usually have what we call a gentleman's agreement, referee discretion rules. So, when there are people that are very violent like Mad Dog Connolly, there is a discussion of, do we give the fans what they want and what they expect, or are we going to go in there and make Mad Dog Connolly, stick to the rules? And, I think somebody like Mortar is confident enough in himself and fearless to go in there and, to fight. It's absolutely going to be a fight. I think about a couple different things with the wrestlers that we book, and wrestling is so hard for the wrestlers to get any kind of sort of like professional momentum going and the confidence. And I think Mortar and Mad Dog Connolly are both in that category of they are getting the momentum going. People are talking about them. They're becoming champions. They're traveling. And then I also think about on the business side, the people that I want to work with. It used to be two things, and now it's three things. The first two things are, number one, talented, number two, motivated, and then the third thing is easy to do business with. And so, as a promoter, Mortar and Mad Dog Connolly are absolutely all three of those things. And it's one of these matches where, like, Matt was saying, Midwest versus Northeast, and, it's one of those, like, only at the SCI can you see something like this, and, until they travel and meet again. But this is a first-time matchup, and they are absolutely going to fight it out.
Oof. I'm ready. I'm excited. Like, I love it. I love it when the people from up here go down south, or the people from down south come up by me. It's awesome. So, and I'm always like, me and Matt always talking about like all like the up and coming and different people from like all over the place. So I love it. I love it. So
yeah, just for example, I was talking to you, I think 3 weeks ago. I was in Worcester, Massachusetts, and I went to Wrestling Open, and I saw, I was like, hey, Tiff, this is somebody you've talked to me about before, right? I'm pretty sure I messaged you that. Mm-hmm. And, I got to see several talents I was familiar with, catch up on a few. Like, Hey, I get to see TJ Crawford, always a treat. Okay, there was several wrestlers who I got to watch and then talk to after and meet. Um, and we're that's very cool. I can't remember everything about that night because I was taking an Uber back, so I didn't stop myself at the bar. I was drinking all night. But plug for Wrestling Open. They're doing
Oh
really
yeah.
good business on Thursdays in Worcester, Massachusetts at Electric Aids live on IWTV. They opened up a Wrestling Open Rhode Island on Mondays.
Hmm.
So, we've had a lot of people who have been on our shows who have been through there. Heck, Jameson, Shook, and Jay Newman 4825 won the IWTV World Championships on a
Beyond
open
show.
show.
Was it open? No,
Yeah.
it was actual
Uh,
Beyond.
Was it
It
Beyond?
was a Beyond. Yeah, I think it was
Okay.
on a Thursday. It was
It,
like a special event or whatever, but it was
it,
supposed to be a
it,
Wrestle Open.
it was a Monday. I know that
Hmm.
because I was that close to going up myself for it.
I yelled at Matt. I was
So
like,
I
"You have to
remember it
tell
being a
me
Monday.
when you come up because I have to go
I
up and go hang out with him."
but I didn't go up. It's my schedule down here is so crazy that I have to book weekends in advance, and
Yeah.
somebody will give me a date for something. I literally just had to turn down a golf trip coming up in September, and it's like, nope, I got this wrestling show and I got this other thing. So, I got multiple wrestling events, sometimes three a weekend now
Yeah.
that I'm performing on, running myself, doing ring rentals for. Lots. There's so much going on. It's great.
Isn't it cool, like, to see from like what it was like back then to where we're at now that we're pretty much getting like wrestling? Yes, we've had like like WWE that it was like one night a week, and then we're it's moved now. Even like AEW, we're having like multiple, but just the independent scene because that's pretty much like what I focus on this podcast and everything. To see that we're getting wrestling almost like every day now that we could pretty much watch.
Heck, there's such a demand for it. IWTV even opened up a channel that is just consistently on
Yeah.
live. You can just go ahead and uh, just open up the IWTV app and click it, and there's something going. It's all past content, but uh, it's fantastic. I mean, you have so many promotions that are running. I mean, yes, it is a lot to keep up with, but when I was in the days of trading VHS tapes on Crazy Max and the Death Valley Driver Review Board, I mean, you're talking about like, all right, I'm going to try to trade for this tape, and I don't know the condition that it's going to be. It might be like a third generation dub in, SLP. If you understand what those things mean, go ahead and take your back pain medication. Uh, but now we get to go ahead and watch something. I mean, I can watch wrestling on my phone. If I
Yeah.
literally, I've done this in the past. If I have 10 or 15 minutes where I'm waiting for something, I've literally just said on Twitter, someone suggest a under 10-minute match for me to watch right now. And, sometimes there's wrestlers who've been following with me, communicating with me, and okay, it's a chance to get some eyes on something. And it's instant. I don't have to wait, 10 days for a VHS to show up in the mail and then put it into my VCR. And, yes, it's a lot to keep up with, but the ease of access is just incredible. And there's so many talented wrestlers who we aren't watching simply because we don't have the time.
Right.
But that's why it's nice to be able to keep up, like with people like you, and just keep up with, hey, who's doing what. So even if I am not familiar with him, I won't say his name, but screw it, I will. Brian Morris. I saw him on Wrestling Open 3 weeks ago, and I was like, I don't know this kid, but I've heard good things, and I really liked his match. I really liked everything about him. I had a lot of good things to tell him after the show, and it was like, now it's like he's somebody who I'm interested in on my radar, and I can follow. Like, and there were several other wrestlers on that show that I get to go ahead and familiarize myself with. So it's consistently there's just so much out there,
Yeah.
and heck, there wasn't even much of a Southeast scene at the time SCI started, and that's, I think, was one of the reasons that Scott wanted to join to start this up with his partners.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah, we had so many solid, and you call somebody a local guy and they get offended, but we had so many local guys, regional guys that would do shows, in this area but that people outside of the area didn't know, didn't respect because they weren't getting out there. You know, we didn't have IWTV. We didn't even have Powerbomb at that point. You know, we had Woo Wrestling with Al Getz filming it, and this bald guy here shows up to be his cameraman, and so you know, I got reunited with Matt Griffin that way. He and I actually used to talk on MySpace back in the day. That's how far back we go. And and then Matt just caught the bug, as did several others. And you know, going into our 10th tournament, I think I told Matt there's 5 or 6 of us that have been at every single SCI tournament. Benzani is going to miss this year, but we're still counting him sort of. But you know, everybody has sort of their story. You know, Dylan Hills got on a bus as a fan from Charleston, South Carolina, and rode to the first ever tournament. Brought his dad, Papa Hills. Matt was the camera person. Referee Kim Skiles was just a little girl fan back then, and it's awesome to see the way that our scene has really developed, and how the coverage and the platform that everybody has now. And you know, we mentioned it's a challenge for wrestlers to stand out, but this is a tournament where we want to point out these are the people that we feel like are working the hardest and have the most talent. And you know, this is who we want to showcase right now. It's not the end all be all. There's other amazing wrestlers out there, but these are 16 of the absolute best in the world that we're showcasing for you. Not to mention the other tournament, the Futures tournament. These are 9 of the best in this area, in the world, that don't even have 5 years of experience yet. And I'll tell you, the Futures Gauntlet this year, you know, I don't know, you know, I created that last year, and I was like, Matt, I have an idea. I want to get more people on the show. And he was like, well, it's your idea. You do it. And so
That's exactly what happened.
so then I actually went to Rob Killjoy, and I was like, Rob, help. I was like, help me come up with this idea. Help me fully, you know, flesh it out. And so, you know, he helped sort of coach through that. But it's giving a lot of wrestlers a lot from the seminar. You know, we have a Sydney Bacabella seminar. There are still a couple of open spots for that. You know, the person that comes the furthest for that seminar, I will pay your way into that seminar. You know, we want people to take a chance on coming into our universe and learning and growing, getting better, networking, getting opportunities. That's what this weekend is all about. You know, we don't want anybody to say like, well, they won't look at me, or, you know, I don't have a chance at that. You absolutely do. Come to the seminar, come hang out, you know, get your foot in the door with us. Put in the work in TWE's Crash Course. Action has Next Up that Bobby Flacco helps with. Jameson Shook is over Crash Course now. But we are absolutely trying to help wrestlers get their foot in the door and show what they've got, and just open the world of opportunities.
I love that. I love that. Shout out to the 86 people watching the stream right now. Appreciate you. Make sure you share the stream, hit that like button. Also, if you're watching this later, let me know what's been your favorite SCI match. Let me know. Kind of curious. So, all right, so let's move on to like the next match. So, we were going to have Danny Briggs versus Casey Owens. So, as you know, 7 o'clock hit, Brett Eisen is announced to replace Danny. So is that going to be the replacement match against Casey Owens?
Absolutely. Ooh. Yeah, Brett Eisen is one of the kings of the TWE arena. He's a guy that, you know, has gone toe-to-toe with Tom Lawler, with Eddie Kingston. You know, Brett Eisen is a force to be reckoned with. And, you know, he may be going to round 2 there. I mean, Casey is so good, so talented. And I think, you know, you look at Casey, and he's a smaller guy. You know, you're not going to see abs on Casey Owens. But, man, Casey will I mean, it looks are deceiving because Casey is a world-class wrestler. You know, he and Darian Bankston just had just an absolute classic match at TWE last event. And so, I mean, Casey's going to try to, break out some technical stuff, some underhanded stuff, try to take any shortcut he can take. And Brett's going to be there to punch him in the face. So it's going to be good.
I love that. You want to add anything to that, Matt?
Yeah, I do suspect that Brett is going to punch Casey in the face. likely more than once. But Brett Eisen is more than Brett's an incredible wrestler. He was somebody who, heck, everybody in the building and in the back acknowledged that Brett was a huge key in carrying TWE for a couple years. And he's had memorable runs at SUP and Action and in several other places in the Southeast. And Casey Owens is someone who's on the way up. Well, small behind the curtains thing, a lot of people tell me after they wrestle Casey Owens. I've had many veteran wrestlers who you would recognize their names, and Casey, he always gets like he's capable. Heck, even on a few years ago when Casey was, been in the business about 15 minutes on a night before show at TWE, I wrestled him in a dark match and a tag match, and even at a very early age, I was like, oh, he's wrestling like a veteran, because he was exactly where I wanted him and needed him to be. And when we talked through stuff, after, I was like, oh, he really gets it. So I'm not surprised at all that he's been turned himself into a world caliber wrestler.
Love that. Absolutely love that.
I'd also like to add sort of just to the aura of Brett Eisen. I mean, he's somebody that is so believable when he goes out there. It's one of those things where, was it Terry Funk, or it's been attributed to several other people, and they're like, you can say whatever you want about wrestling, you can call it fake, but you're not going to call me fake. And that's Brett Eisen. Brett Eisen is authentic. And I just think about, somebody like Tank that we have. I feel like Brett Eisen is the Tank of the next generation. He's somebody that brings that authenticity to the ring and can have a good match with anybody.
Definitely. I love, like, a lot of people in this tournament, like, we've seen, like, even up, like, here, H2O, GCW, it's, like, it's crazy. So, really, really good. Brett is amazing, and Casey, like, again, like, I've seen, like, all over my feed and stuff, so shout out to everybody. Next match, so we go into Vinny Massaro and Channing Thomas. So I think the bet here is, I think this is just a guaranteed here, is Bach Belly gonna lose his wig. Like, that's just easy money.
Wait. He wears a wig?
Sorry. If you guys didn't.
What are you trying to say here?
Easy money.
Vinny Massaro is somebody I'm very looking forward. I've never actually met him in person, but we have talked for years. And he had talked to me, 6 or 7 years ago. He wanted to be in SCI, and it's something we've wanted to work out. And when we really started discussing people for this tournament, I said to Scott, I'm like, let's just put let's book Vinny Massaro. He's just, he's got such an incredible background that he's been around for decades. I watched him wrestle and have a really intense match with Adam Priest, and I'm like, his accolades, more than put him in here. Let's get him in this year. And Vinny was very, very excited to be asked. And and Channing Thomas is someone who was in last year. I know he and Sidney Bacabella are a couple of your favorites. I am the bullshit quotient for this match, or quota for this match, is going to be well exceeded very quickly, I think.
You're laughing.
Yeah, they're both, they're both extremely entertaining, but also, world class. Channing Tatum, but world class wrestlers.
Channing Thomas.
Oh man, I finally said it. I've always hated that I thought I was going to say it. Channing Thomas, my goodness. World-class Channing Thomas. Every time I ring announce him, I'm like, don't say Tatum, don't say Tatum, don't say Tatum. Okay.
You are
Yeah.
absolutely going to say that on Friday night now.
Oh man,
That's how
I'm
you have
scared
to
to
announce
death
him.
now.
That's it.
But it's also
Scared to
just a
death.
pleasure to have a WWF Hall of Famer Sidney Bakabella
Former
back here.
Former WWF
That's
Hall of
right.
Famer.
That's right. He's I believe he's coming in after working the Amarillo territory on Thursday. And then he worked for Fritz, he worked for the Blanchards, he worked for the Funks, he worked even for the Goulas. So he's somebody who's been around for a long time, and God, I love Sidney Bakabella so much. He's just he really gets it. And he's somebody who can actually teach about a lot of people talk about the wrestling business part of the business and don't actually have a clue what they're talking about. He's somebody who not only has a clue, but he teaches other people about it.
Yeah.
Plus,
Yeah,
at any given time, he might have a whole pile of cocaine or a gun in his bag in a locker
Come
room.
on.
Come on,
Get
you
out.
watched that The Life of, didn't you?
Get out of here. You're
There will be
gonna
no
have
cocaine at the TWE arena.
you're gonna have Red Bank PD waiting for him down there.
What's up, good
But
cop,
it's,
bad cop?
Yeah. But it's also one of those only at SCI kind of matches where it is West Coast versus East Coast, and Bacabella is a guy that has actually been a promoter, has done announcing, has done managing, is a wrestler from time to time. If you consider just like punching and trying not to get punched and falling a wrestler, which hey, he pulls it off.
Yeah. Valid chat says, with any luck, it'll be more than once for the wig. So I think we need to count of like how many times. That's the real bet. That's the real bet. All right, so the last tournament match for this is Cody Manhorn versus Colby Carino. So this is gonna be good. This is gonna be really, really good. So I know like Cody's excited about this. We've seen Colby Carino like everywhere. It's really awesome. This is gonna be good.
Yeah, this one is there's a lot of story behind this one. This is I think it's the 10-year anniversary of a shooting that we had in Chattanooga that Cody Manhorn is a hero. He actually went and saved some families that were in the park behind the recruiting office that was shot up, and there's a video of him out there talking about how he went out there and got those people to safety in the midst of a time where people were actually dying. You don't think about that in your backyard, especially in a place like Chattanooga, Tennessee, but it happened, and Cody Manhorn was there, and he acted bravely, but he's also had some struggles. I mean, and he'll talk about that. He it's not been sunshine and rainbows for Cody Manhorn. He has had a journey to get to where he's at. And on the other side of that, Colby Carino, like if you watch his, in the life of on IWTV, I mean, he was homeless. He lived under a bridge in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I pass that bridge every day, and I think about Colby Carino living under that, and then going from that to being the family guy that he is, to signing a contract. I know that didn't go exactly how he wanted, but still to be able to be, right back up there being considered one of the best wrestlers in the world. He just wrestled for the NWA championship at the ECW arena, I think it was. And, it's two guys that are scrappy, they're hard hitting, they're technical, they can make a crowd feel one way or another. So I mean, it's going to be a really emotional match, I feel like.
Want to add anything?
Yeah, both these two are, very open about their stories and what what their stories show is that they are absolutely incredible, resilient people because, different situations, but similar in that there's both been a lot of personal adversity, and they both overcame what each issue in the past. And not that you still don't deal with things, because I was a Marine, and so Cody and I have always had a really good relationship about things. But you can continue to succeed and thrive even when battling. I guess the quote in wrestling is battling your demons, but it's just these are two people who, as men, are just great examples of how you can go ahead and succeed even when everything is stacked against you.
Great stuff. Great stuff. Good cop, bad cops, and he said, "How to catch Griffin with Griffin."
What?
I guess that's your new name, Griffin with Griffin.
Oh, I like that. Oh, okay.
That's your new name.
I like that.
No,
right.
Matt needs a format. We're not riffing. Matt needs a
Coming to
format.
podcasts everywhere. Yeah. All right.
Griffin
I
with
just
Griffin.
need a Dollar Shave Club promo code and I'm set.
Oh my god.
Hey, do you want to go ahead and get the most out of your manhood? Let's talk about Blue Chew.
Oh my
I'm
god.
Riffing with Griffin brings you Blue Chew, and
Oh my
I love to make Scott uncomfortable. It's such a great hobby.
It's not hard.
That's what she said.
Oh god. We're getting there. See, I feel like this is all good cop, bad cops fault pretty much. So like I can't. All right, well, let me see if I can get this.
Isn't it really a good thing that, like, 20 years ago, I was really nice to Scott Hensley on MySpace so we could have these conversations?
Indeed.
I'm bringing it to you live, the Queen of the Indies Corner. Got you every week. Make sure you're subscribed and all that fun stuff. You never know what's going to happen here. We got over 100 people watching. Thank you so much. Again, make sure you hit that like button, hit the share button. If you watch this later, appreciate you. So also have here, so we talked about all the matches for that, but we also have of the night one. Did it come up on the screen? Yeah, it came up on the screen. So night one also too. So you have the 2023 SCI winner. You got Manders. 2022 SCI winner. You got Jaden Newman. And then you have versus Adam Priest, the 2024 SCI winner. And then we have a mystery partner. Now it's kind of interesting what I've been seeing like on social media, what people are saying that it's gonna be. Daniel Bryanson got thrown around for that one. I was like, oh, okay, that would be cool.
Well, I mean, that I'm not saying anything, but I was right there when Bryan Danielson said Adam Priest is the best unsigned wrestler in the world. It's also something that I've said repeatedly over the last couple of years. And I have no idea what Adam Priest is thinking or who he's going to bring. So that's entirely up to Adam. So Scott and I are just hoping it's somebody not problematic.
Yeah, I did.
I don't necessarily know.
I didn't know he had friends, so it may not be a friend, but I don't know. It may be somebody from the Scenic City Invitational past. It may be just somebody that equally hates Manders and Jaden. I don't know.
It's entirely possible he just brings his dog and ties the leash on the apron and wrestles this as a handicap match. It's Adam Priest. What do you want from me?
Man,
This is true.
I had this conversation, Zach. I know you're in the chat listening to this, whatever. I had this chat with him last night. I was like, damn. So I was telling him about the Daniel Bryanson thing that I saw floating around. I was like, this could be anybody. I was like, this could be Darren Bringston. I was like, this could be Cruel. And then we got into a whole argument about that.
Oh, God. Adam Priest and Cruel have literally lit each other on fire in that building, too, haven't they?
Yes.
I know it happened in my building. I'm pretty sure it happened in that building.
I don't know. Cruel's probably crazy enough to wrestle twice.
Yeah.
I mean,
this was the argument that we had last night. And he was like, but why? He was like, they were killing each other. I was like, yeah, but that was then. This is now.
But Adam Priest is the type of person, if you slap him in the face really, really hard, and I have been slapped in the face by Adam Priest, by the way, in that building for what it's worth. If you would hit Adam Priest, he's only going to respect you if you hit him really, really hard. He's somebody who you have to go ahead and show out. He's not a bully, but you have to prove yourself to him because he's a tough guy.
Yeah.
Adam Priest is somebody, if he was born in the time of the territory days, would be wrestling 350 days a year. Or if he was like Hulk Hogan, I guess 400 days a year, because of the international time zone.
Brother.
And Adam Priest is that guy you can use up and down on the show, and he's had great battles. It was Adam Priest and Jade Newman who made the Action title a world title because they wrestled for that championship in WXW Germany with our friends out there. And then Adam Priest, heck, it was a year ago he bashed and broke his own trophy over Mander's head. And they've had a bunch of different battles at one of our SCI events last September, and at Action as well. So, I don't know who Adam might be teaming with. I'm assuming I'm going to dislike them just because
Adam.
I like Adam Priest, but I also know how he. I've managed Adam Priest at different shows around here, but I also know exactly how he is.
If you've seen the clip of Adam Priest breaking the trophy over the heads of Manders and Jaden, it's not going to be the two guys that got out of there, which was Makabe and AC Matt.
Part of me secretly hoping that it's Jonathan Gresham because now we've seen them team over at GCW. So, but a lot of names been thrown around. I'm here for it. I'm excited. Is it Friday yet? Is it Friday?
Adam knows a lot of people, yeah.
That he does.
On that note, because it's not Friday yet, I'm going to have to duck out shortly to finish preparations for this weekend. I know we have a lot more things that we got. Oh, Scott's hand up close. I know we have a lot of things that we have to do, but I actually have to finish logistical things like trips and hotel rooms and formats. Also, my dinner is here.
That's fine. I think that's a good note where we're going to leave off. So just tell everybody, tickets, still on sale. Again, obviously, this is going to be on IWTV if you guys are not subscribed. So anything else you guys want to add?
Join us live this weekend. 4 big events over 3 days. TWE the night before, they're doing what they call Red Bank Roulette. That starts tomorrow. 8 o'clock is the time there. You can get tickets at the door. Friday and Saturday night, 7:30 p.m. You can join us on IWTV or come on down to Chattanooga, Tennessee. It's just right outside of downtown Chattanooga in Red Bank, Tennessee, 4825 Dayton Boulevard. You can get tickets at the door or at scIwrestling.com. And then Saturday at 2 p.m., it was the Action Futures Showcase Tournament. 9 up-and-coming wrestlers with 5 or less years of experience will be competing. And also, if you are a trained wrestler, come on out for the Sydney Bacabella seminar. It's just $20, and we will be awarding spots in the Action Futures Gauntlet match during the showcase tournament, and the winner of that gauntlet will actually go on to be in next year's Futures tournament. There's, I think, 4 entrants in the tournament this year that were a part of the gauntlet last year, I think.
Love that. By the way, Good Cop, Bad Cop said it took me a few minutes to figure it out, but Scott looks like Mark Cuban to me.
Heard that before. I like it.
Hey, you know what, Scott? If you and Mark Cuban average your net worths, you're both billionaires.
Yeah, there you go. Let's average them, yeah.
And he also says, does promo code Blue Chew get any discounts off an IWTV subscription?
Try it. I don't know. What do you have to lose?
The real note, the promo code is Action, but I am about to message my IWTV representative and see if I can get Blue Chew added just for the lulz.
Jerry's not responding to that.
I'm here for it.
Unfortunately, I can't call him out because Jerry doesn't do Twitter. That proves that he's an incredibly smart person. Jerry with a G does not have Twitter, which I think, that's brilliant.
I bet he does. You just don't know it.
It's a fake
Yeah.
one. All right, I'm flashing all the matches across the screen right now for you guys. Again, definitely tune on in. Definitely check out TWE on tomorrow. And then night 1 is Friday. Future Showcase is Saturday at 2, correct?
Yes. It's just $5.
Even better. That's a steal right there. Look at that. We have a little cutie. Hello, cutie. Oh, he left. He split. Hi.
This is a probable action future showcase
Is
entrant.
he going to be Adam's partner?
My son Bronze. Are you teaming with Adam Priest on Friday?
Oh.
He wanted to nod yes. He's not because he's going to stay here. But if Adam asked him to, he would. He's actually gotten involved in several of my matches before and done quite well.
I love that. Definitely love that. So,
Mhm.
guys, all the links are in the description below. Make sure you check it out. Got you covered. Thank you guys for coming on here and chatting with us for a little bit about
Thanks
everything.
for having us.
I appreciate that. So, next week I'm back with Jack Solomon. So make sure you're subscribed to Queen of the Indies
Jack.
Corner. Yes, we love Jack.
Nice.
So you want me to ask him
Nice.
anything live on the question from you?
I can imagine several things that I don't want to say out loud yet.
The DMs are
Scott's
open.
on here, and I've already embarrassed him enough today. So I cannot wait to hear from you at 7:35 on Friday, so you can tell me what you think.
Yes.
Because I know you'll be messaging me.
Always.
I'm excited though. It's a big weekend. The Scenic Invitational is one of my favorite weekends of the year every year, and looking forward to it. So thanks everyone for watching, and please tune in this weekend.
Yes. Thank you guys.
And with that, I'm out. More Cuban reference.
Thank you guys. Love you guys so much. See you guys next week. Have a good